Hi everyone, welcome back in another video project where I want to share with you uh, a traffic analytics dashboard. So we're going to be using React, Tailwind CSS, TypeScript, and ShadCN for UI components. Also, we're going to be using Zastan for the state management. But also, we're going to be using this website called the boltstack. So we're providing some reusable components, and this has really helped me to actually create this dashboard a lot faster that has too many components and too many elements, and without using these components that would take me for about 2 or 3 weeks to build this project, and I've been able to create it in less than 1 week. So also we're going to be using heavily this website, as you can see in the blog section at the bottom and the dashboard section. If we go to the data tables, so I promoted this in my YouTube channel many times, even though that I'm not getting too many views. I don't know why, but I talked about this too many times in my videos and sharing with you some of the things that I recently built that I think also it's going to help you into building UI a lot faster, because the thing that really takes a lot of time to build is the UI. So as you can see, this data table has built-in features like the filtering, the sorting, the checkbox check-in, the search, and too many others like the pagination. And this can be reused as 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 you would like in your projects to save a lot of time. So we're going to be doing a lot in this project, and also we're going to be using charts, as you will see. So this is the actual main route or main page of the application with this beautiful component. And this is also this component, also it's completely reusable. So I created this component beforehand with all the logic inside of it. All I have to do is just to put it into the route and you are ready to go. You need to plug the component in and you are ready to go. So now I'm going to access to the application. So one thing that I want to mention is it's not a full stack. It's only a front end, and we are using dummy data. Like the data that we are going to be using to log with are just dummy data from the API. So I'm going to provide the admin this Gmail, which is a fake Gmail, and also the password into the description so you can be able to access to the application. And the password is admin password. So hopefully that it is correct. And I'm going to click on the access account. And as you can see, we're having this beautiful notification. And this is the actual application that I recently built. So just to be able to see the sidebar, so I zoomed out. And as you can see, we're having the sidebar, so you can be able to actually move through the pages that we want. And also we're having the dark mode since we're using the ShadCN. And also here we're having this notification. So it is just a dummy data, as I said, where I just worked on the front end. And also if I click on here, we're having this drop down. So the only thing that is working is the logout. So I just added this, so nothing is working. And also we're having the name and the email address and the actual plan. So also we're having this, as you can see, changes every time that I select on these elements. And also we're having other statistics, the bounce rate, the page views, the new visitors, and the time on site. And also we're having these beautiful charts. So these charts are, so there is one chart in the whole project and it is reused depending on my need. And if we go back to the bolt stack at the bottom, if we go to the chart cards, so we're going to be using this chart card one component. And if we go to the code and here into the prompt, as you can see, the chart type accept the bar and the area. So I can just use this component and I can use it for this part and for this part, and I can replicate this component as many as I would like. So that's the power of using reusable components. At the bottom, we're having the browser usage. Also, we're going to be using another component. Uh, so let me go back to the bolt stack. So we're going to be using this browser usage component, and also it has too many props, as you can see. And one thing that you will notice in the project, uh, like the main code, like the routes or the pages, you're not going to find a lot of code. So everything is sleek and clean because the whole logic is handled inside the reusable component. So that's a benefit into your code base. If when it adds stuff, it's going to be very easy to do so because your code is organized right now. And also we're having the traffic source. We're having this table that I showed you at the beginning. So this is the table that we are using in the traffic source card. So now we're going to go to the analytics. And also one thing that if you noticed, we're having the skeleton. So each added in the reusable components to handle the skeleton. All you have to do to provide the prompt is loading, and you connect it to the state, and you can be able to show this skeleton. So because I'm using a dummy data, so I'm just using the set timeout, so you can turn from true to false after a certain period of time. And also each page has the dark mode, as you can see. And I think the dark mode with the charts and the bars and all the information, it looks a lot nicer. So here we're having these cards with these information. So one thing that or the challenge that I found into building this project is to come up with the ideas and the information and the design of each page. So here at the bottom, so we're gonna actually reuse the same component that we used for this part and these charts. So we're gonna be use it in here. So the only difference or the only change that we're gonna make is the data. And also we're gonna be using this another component for this. So if we go back to the boltstack.dev here and at the bottom in the dashboard section, if we go to the list cards, so we're having this. So this is the list card that we're going to be using. And also we're going to be using this one. So this one that we're going to be using for this card. And finally, as you can see, we're using the same table, but now we're adding the sorting because here it is just a very quick overview of the traffic sources. And here, as you can see, we're having more detailed information for this component, and we're adding the actual sorting. As you can see, it is totally working, and you will get the sorting logic right off the bat into the component, which is going to save you a lot of time. And also we're having the pagination. It is completely working. And the traffic source, so this is the actual page. We're having the total visitors, the primary traffic source, the conversion rate, and we're having more extensive information on the traffic sources. So also we're having the search. As you can see, it is totally working with the sorting as well. And if we go back to the overview and you click on this button, so we're going to go to the traffic source page. And finally, we're having the upgrade section. And also, this is also a reusable component. One thing that I'm providing in this website, also reusable components inside in the landing page. So if we go to the pricing section, we're having right now two elements. So this is what we're going to be using. And if we go to the code, it is a pretty heavy code there, as you can see. So so you don't have to actually code this and recode this. All you need to do to actually use this component to provide some prompts and provide the data, and you are ready to go. And also another thing that the final thing that I want to show you is that it is completely responsive, as you can see, for each page. And at some point, as you can see, the landing page is gone, and we're having this button to be able to actually access to the sidebar. So if I click on here, so I'm going to show you each sidebar or each page that is completely responsive, as you can see. So the same for the analytics. So if I shrink the window like this, we're having the same thing. And if we go to the traffic sources, so also this is um, completely responsive, and all of the responsiveness for certain components is ready out of the box, so you don't have to add any code, which is going to be a time saver. So by, as I said, by just like reusing these components, and as you can see, if we go back to the website at the bottom, I didn't create a lot of components, but because these components has many prompts to handle a lot of edge cases. And to be honest with you, it took me quite a while to really build them. And with the experience that I got, so I've been able to actually get the patterns and create the prompts and the logic. And as you can see, we've been able to create this awesome dashboard with a lot of information uh, in this project. So this is something that I was really excited about to create, and I'm sharing with you guys this project. And before I move on to the code, one thing that I decided to do so is I noticed that I'm not great at teaching tutorials and all of this, and it's a pain for me. And also, I found that a lot of people are not interested in viewing tutorials. The only thing that people want is the actual code, and they want to move on. So what I decided to do so is my future videos are going to be uh, split in two parts. The first part, I'm going to show you the project, and the second part, I'm going to go over the source code of the project very quickly to share with you the ideas and the structure that I followed to create the project, and how I've been able to use this website to be able to create this project. So this is what I'm going to start doing as we move on with my YouTube channel. So this is the end of the first part. So the second part, I'm going to start talking about the code of the project. So after I showed you the whole project, now we are going to get into the code. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the structure of the code. So this is the actual code of the project. So we're having the API folder, and inside the API folder, we're having the login and the logout to be able to handle uh, the login functionality whenever we click on the login button and the main page as I showed you. And as you can see, one thing that I talked about many times, that I'm using just dummy data. So this is the information that we introduced into we added, sorry, inside the fields to be able to actually access to the application. And also, we're having another user, and we are creating the post uh, function to be able to actually uh, send the request from the client, and we are gonna access to the email and the password, and then we are gonna see if the actual user is found inside the dummy user's data. So if it is not, we're gonna return this object that has the success property and the message with the status 401, and then we are gonna create a new response. So we're gonna create a new object. So of course, we're not gonna return the password, we're gonna just return the ID, the email, and the name, and then we're going to return a response to the client with this object, and then we're going to create a cookie. It's a simple cookie that we're going to be creating into the browser. So just to show you, for example, if I let's say that I do this, I take the dashboard route and I go to another route. So as you can see, I'm still logged in because of the session cookie that we created. So just to show you very quickly what is happening behind the scene, so let me go to the application and then we're gonna go to the cookies and here, as you can see, this is our cookie that has been created because of this code. And it's gonna be expired 1 day, and to not always log in whenever you want to access to the dashboard. And actually, I'm using middleware. So this is the middleware that I'm using, even though that we're working with dummy data. So I'm just using the middleware to actually see if the cookie has been created. Uh, before we can go to the dashboard route. So this is basically the actual login route. So I wanted just uh, to share with you the structure, but I get a little bit into details into the login route. So the logout route, so it's going to actually handle the function when we click on the logout button, which is this button. So whenever we click on this button, so we are going to hit this API to be able to clear the cookie. So this is what's going to happen when I click on the logout. And if I open up our tab, and as you can see, the cookie has been deleted. And if I reload the page, as you can see, I'm going to be redirected to the home page since the cookie is not here anymore, so we need to log in again. So this API will handle this, and it's a very simple one. So this is for the API route. We're having the components. So here, as you can see, we're having too many components, and all of these components are reusable. And these components, I took them from this website. One thing that I did mention, also this website handles dark mode, and we're going to be using pretty much all the components that we're having in here except the forms and the dialog forms. So all of these components, as you can see, they are centralized in one folder called components, and we can be able to reuse them as many as we would like, depending on what we want into the UI. And as you will see, and as I'm explaining the code base, you will see that our code is very clear and readable because of this. And this is the best pattern. So if you are doing this, it shows that you are pretty experienced with React and you know the best patterns. So it took me quite a while to really figure that out. So right now I'm doing React for about 2 years and a half by creating a lot of projects, as you can see in my YouTube channel. So I created too many projects, and by doing this, I started getting some experience and I started like optimizing things and organizing my code bases. And here we're having the actual dashboard route. So we're having the page.tsx, and also we are organizing. I organize for each page. It's going to be inside each each folder. Like for the overview, we're having the code for the overview, the performance, the subscription, and the traffic. So I'm not going to get into details. So I want to make, I'm going to like talk about this later on. And also you can find the timestamp into the description. And here we're having the data. So I go organize since, as I said, we're using the dummy data. So this is how I organized things for the overview page. So this is the data. And for each card, as you can see, I'm putting them in their own files. So like for example, here in the overview, the audience overview chart. So this is the actual data and the browser uses. This is the actual data. So just to make sure that like accessibility is going to be very handy to you. So if you actually purchase the code and you support me for building this project, so this is, I made sure that everything is organized. So we're having the stats list, as you can see, that is for, so let me, let me actually access to the dashboard again to show you things accordingly. Like here, so let me go back here, the stat list for the overview. And so this is the component that we're using, and we are pulling out the data from here. So we're having the traffic source table. So this is for this, this one. So, and I'm doing the same thing for the performance as well, as you can see. So if we go to the performance, so this is for each component. If we go to the analytics, for each component, like for this part, it's going to be in the analytics cards, the average time history, it's going to be for this component. And the same for this component. It's going to be linked to the top 10 pages by session. And lastly, we're having the top 10 pages. So this one is going to be connected to this one and the top content table. So this, it's going to be connected to this one. So I did the same thing also for the traffic sources as well. So as you can see, I made sure that everything is organized and readable and accessible, and also it's going to make the project scalable as well. And it's going to be very easy to add feature later on because everything is organized. So now let's move on to the next folder. So we're having hooks. So here, so hooks are like it's going to help you, like if you have a logic that is used many times, as I'm going to show you many times, so you can just create one component or one hook and reuse it over and over again. Like this use click outside, as I'm going to start to explain in the sidebar part. So this it's going to handle when, for example, when I open the sidebar like this, when I click outside of the sidebar, so we are going to call this hook to be able to actually trigger this. So we're having the use dummy data load in, the use sidebar store. So I'm going to get into this. So now I'm just showing you the overall structure of our code. We're having the sign up as well, the dark mode.tsx to be able to actually access to this drop down, as you can see. And finally, we're having these. Uh, so, so I'm not going to get into them. So those are this is the structure of our code. And the next thing that I'm going to start talking about is the sidebar.